beautiful people. How is everybody doing? I hope everybody had a fantastic New Year's. So my name is Meilin and I have been in the fashion industry for over 18 years. And I've also had a brand named Dragonfly. Now I'm here to give you some valuable tips on how to start your own fashion brand, or simply divulge in some interesting information that can help you build your fashion brand, or just to get some knowledge in general. So join the tribe. Before we get started though, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with anyone you think might benefit from this video. So in the past, I've had quite a few people asking me about certain things in how to start a fashion brand. So in this segment, I thought I would go over some of these questions so you can better prepare yourself. There were quite a few questions, so I've decided to divide it into different videos. And today we're going to touch on how much money would it take to start a brand, and how can I find funding or investors? This one's a tough one because it all depends on the scale of your collection, or how much you would be outsourcing it or doing it yourself. You might want to keep in mind some of these things, but not limited to. For example, website cost. Are you getting it done by a friend, or are you doing it by yourself, or are you going through a company that might be a little more costly? What's your marketing budget? Will you be taking some courses such as sewing if you decide to make your own pieces? Where you decide to manufacture your product? Will it be overseas or local? Also depends on the type of brand that you want to start. Sustainable products can be a lot more expensive than regularly sourced fabrics and such. So many things to factor in, but I can tell you from my experience, I set aside around $10,000 for my collection because the fashion show I decided to partake in was already around $4,000, which included models. Then I decided to develop a capsule of around 10 styles, using local tailors to make a small production of an MOQ, which means minimum order quantity, of about 20 pieces in a selection of 4 different prints. Not all got all 4 prints, and some of them were even solids. The prints were 2 colorways each, and within 2 to 4 different sizes. What was the most expensive for me, in my opinion, was the organic bamboo fabric and the natural dyeing of it. Yes, that's right. If you want to dye your fabric in the most organic and natural way, for example, they use mango leaves to make the color yellow, can be really pricey. I really wanted to produce something I could be super proud of. A beautiful collection that somewhat also helped reduce the impact it had on the environment. So I chose to go as local as possible to reduce my footprint. I used organic fabrics and hand printing techniques. I also used leftover bits of fabrics to recycle them and use them as my labels, which I ended up cutting all by hand myself. But the cost in total was a lot more than I had actually anticipated. Now, I did all of this out of Bali, and luckily hiring graphic designers to help me get my print ideas into a digital form can be more economical. But not everyone lives in Asia where local help can be more affordable. So I suggest using other platforms out there that can be more cost-effective, such as Fiverr and Upwork, for simpler, more straightforward stuff. So I had also set up an Indiegogo campaign, which is a crowdfunding website. But I will talk a little bit more about this in my next question, which is all about funds and investors. When it comes to how much money you may need to start your brand, I would highly suggest to do your due diligence and research costs, and set up a spreadsheet with prices of fabrics, trims, labels, website costs, advertising budget, hourly fees of anyone you may consider to hire, sample costs, any supplies and such. I think having a very detailed overview of what you may need can be a realistic and smart way to begin the process. Also keep in mind, if you decide to produce your collection locally, you will save on shipping costs. However, you will pay up to double the cost price per unit. Websites can also be quite expensive, so bear in mind that you might need anywhere between $7,000 to $80,000 unless you have somebody who's willing to do it for less. All right, that's for that. And the next question is about funds and investors. Once again, your funding options depends on your needs and circumstances. Therefore, only you can decide what is best for you. But some options that you may consider are things such as crowdfunding. So Kickstarter is one of the most popular ones out there, for example, or Indiegogo, which is the one that I used. So this option requires you to convince people to pledge money to your X product or collection. In return, their money buys a product and can fund your factory order. Then there are also what we call angel investors. They give you funds in exchange for equity. You also have the option of a bank loan or from a friend or family member. Feel free to go ahead and take a look at one of my videos called Setting Up a Business Plan, which I will leave the link down below in the comments. Now, you also might consider going in with a partner. That way, costs can be split. Working with a partner means you can always discuss issues with each other. Although, before you consider a partner, ask yourself what your strengths and weaknesses are and what areas you need to develop. That way you can be much clearer in terms of what you need from the other person and not just about the finances. And don't forget, your revenue would also be split. Lastly, which is what I did in the Indiegogo campaign, I would go with a bootstrap. This is a term used for business launched by an entrepreneur with little or outside cash or other support. Right, I just financed it myself with as little as I had, and I managed to spread it accordingly. All right, my dears, that's all the time that I have for today. And I would love to hear any comments from you guys down below. Please make sure to subscribe, like, and share with anyone you think could benefit from this video. And see you next time.